Alavukku minjinal amudamum nanju. Abuse of the powers of the NDPS, sir. Sir, NDPS, the complex in each and every parliamentary constituency, sir. I would feel that there are so many drugs which are used in medicine which are being abused. So I feel that the government should also ensure that these pharmacological agents are kept out of reach of the common public. So we should bring in a system where prescription drugs should be handled with the utmost care, and it should not be across the table. It should not be handed over to the common public, and people who are providing these kind of over-the-top counter sales of these drugs, strict action should be taken, treating them also as drug peddlers, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to discuss on under Rule 193 on the problem of drug abuse in our country and the steps taken by the government, sir. Sir, I would like to quote Thiruvalluvar, who has spoken about a lot of things, everything under the sun, where he has said, "Indral mugatheyum innadal in matru sandror mugathu kali." Technically, what he is trying to say, when I translate that, is a mother will not tolerate a son being under the influence of alcohol or any drug abuse. And when such is the situation, when a mother feels that way about him, what will the learned people of this society talk about that person? So, taking from his words, I would like to say that drug abuse in our country, it is a huge concern, sir. And the major drugs which are being abused are cannabis, opioids, sedatives, inhalants, cocaine, amphetamine stimulants, and hallucinogens, sir. And this, though it is common throughout the country and probably the whole of the world, it is more common in states like UP, Punjab, Sikkim, Chhattisgarh, and Delhi. And India being sandwiched between the Golden Crescent, which my earlier friend was talking about, of Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran, we are also sandwiched on the other side by the Golden Triangle from Thailand, where we get a lot of drugs from both the east and western sides. And when we are talking about these drugs which are coming in, we have to understand that they are coming in through ports. And the earlier speaker also spoke about the Gujarat port, where there was a huge haul of about 3,000 kgs of drugs which were seized. But subsequently, we do not have any idea about what happened to those drugs, whether what kind of an action was taken, was anybody held accountable. So what we are looking at is trying to see how we can protect our country, our citizens, from the abuse of drugs. And the second biggest abuse is the abuse of the powers of the NDPS, sir. Sir, NDPS, the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act, it is an act, it is a draconian act because it treats the drug peddlers and the consumers at the same level, sir. You have to understand that the consumers are teenage kids who have lost their way, and probably they are most of them in schools or colleges. And the earlier speaker was also talking about the importance of giving these people an opportunity where they should probably be put into rehabilitation centers and not sent to jail. Because sending these youngsters to jail is a sure way of making them into hardened criminals when you are allowing them to coexist along with the hardened criminals in the jails, sir. Sir, we also know about how the NDPS Act is also being abused. We know that there was a famous personality whose son was caught with possession of a small quantity of a drug, and the whole the rigmarole which followed, and the political vendetta, the highlights, and everything was being diverted so that as if that was the only case thing was happening in this country. Everything else in this country was forgotten at that point in time. So I urge the government to ensure and pass a bill that consumers of drugs are not treated as criminals and be treated as people with a disease. They have some kind of a psychiatric disease and they need support from the government. To that end, I urge the government that you have to have more and more of rehabilitation centers, sir. When we are talking about the need for rehabilitation centers, there has been a lot of survey which shows that the number of rehabilitation centers in our country is very less. So I would urge the government that we have about 543 parliamentary constituencies, sir. In each parliamentary constituency, a free rehabilitation drug center should be provided, if not two. At least one should be provided in each parliamentary constituency to ensure that there is facilities available both as outpatients and as inpatients for serious drug abuse victims, sir. Sir, also the ill effects of drug abuse we have to invest in this because most of the youngsters, these are our wealth for tomorrow, sir. And if you are going to ignore these children, the number of people who are going to be economically productive in future is going to fall, because these drugs all cause great health hazards. Like they cause an increase in heart rate, they cause fluctuation in their blood pressure, and it leads to more instances of heart attacks, stroke, psychosis, and change in personality, change in appetite. And also it leads to heart diseases, lung diseases, cancer, HIV and hepatitis, sir. Sir, to reduce the way to prevent drug abuse is one prevention, sir, where you can stop the drugs coming into our country or which is being indigenously manufactured in our country. We can try and reduce that. But the other way is to give these children an opportunity to engage themselves, to distract them from this drugs, and to engage them productively where more sporting facilities can be started, sir. Sir, in our state of Tamil Nadu, our Honorable Chief Minister has initiated a very appreciable scheme, sir, where each and every MLA constituency will have a sports complex with 3 crore of investment from the government. So when the state of Tamil Nadu government can do this, I would request the union government to spend at least 50 crore per MP constituency to start a sporting complex in each and every parliamentary constituency, sir. I would feel that this would help in the youngsters to stay away from drugs, because once you engage them in some kind of a sporting activity, the incidence of drugs also would definitely come down, sir. And also, the earlier speaker from Mumbai, he was talking about that each and every substance has a use and all those things. See, the whole term, why we call that as an abuse, is because when the use is exceeded. In Tamil, we have a saying, sir, alavukku minjinal amudamum nanju. So when you take in excess, even a nectar can become poisonous. So when we have that kind of a situation, I do not know when he said, of course, even medical substances like amphetamine, ketamine, and there are so many drugs which are used in medicine which are being abused. So I feel that the government should also ensure that these pharmacological agents are kept out of reach of the common public. So we should bring in a system where prescription drugs should be handled with the utmost care, and it should not be across the table. It should not be handed over to the common public, and people who are providing these kind of over-the-top counter sales of these drugs, strict action should be taken, treating them also as drug peddlers, sir. So unless we bring in changes like this, I do not think that we will go forward, and I hope that the government will definitely consider that starting of a sports complex in each parliamentary constituency, starting of a rehabilitation center in each constituency will be taken up favorably, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chennai Express channel,